Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Britball YouTube channel. Today, as promised, we are carrying on our series and we are bringing the next team in the AFC South, which is Jacksonville Jaguars. They've had 6 picks in their past 5 years and will crack straight on to 2020 where they've had 2 in 1.
Okay, first off we have CJ Henderson, second cornerback taken after Jeff Okudah. Probably been better than Jeff Okudah.
Definitely.
In 8 games, he really started well against the Colts week 1. Had his interception, I think, in that game and deflected 3 passes. So, great game for a rookie. He has had some bad moments. I remember him against the Dolphins, I think, when someone went down and he didn't go and tap him to make sure the runner was down. He just got back up again and then carried on running. That's just him thinking like he's still in college. But no, very promising player. Shame he only got to play 8 games. Like quite a lot of the Jacksonville good players, they played barely any games this season. But despite his low PFF rating, he has a lot of potential, and I think he could have a big year too. And yeah, we give him a B+. We believe in CJ Henderson.
Yeah, you pretty much said what I haven't already got written down. His stats are fairly impressive for 8 games. He did allow 65% of throws against him to be completed, allowing 4 touchdowns in that time. He did struggle for consistently a little bit. He was having moments of brilliance, then typical rookie mistakes, like you said. And his peaks were very impressive, very high, and his lows were very, very deep. He needs to find consistency and stay healthy because the coaching staff at Jacksonville actually do believe he has a very high ceiling, just needs to prove it. Clavon Chasson, whatever he is. However you say it. He played 16 games in the NFL this season, but he only started 3. In that time, he got 1 pass defended, he got a sack and 19 combined tackles. He does have pretty raw athletic ability, and it takes a while to understand the game. For someone like him, he didn't really get it. He didn't click straight away. He did get more snaps as the season went on because there was a lot of injuries in the Jacksonville squad, like we said with CJ Henderson. He arguably brought the best out of his counterpart, Josh Allen, because Josh Allen actually stood up and mentored him throughout the season. And as the season went on, especially in the second half of the season, he got the majority of his stats during that time. He does need to work on pass coverage, that's no secret. He allowed 100% of his passes against him. Admittedly, it was only 4, but 100% is still 100%. And he had a run defense rating of 39.2 on the PFF. So while he may be good at pressuring the quarterback, he needs to work on his other aspects of the game. And in terms of stuff that was out of his hands, he had a very poor head coach, very poor coordinator, and he didn't really fit the system that Doug Marrone was implementing in Jacksonville. But now that he's gone, he's got Urban Meyer, very, very intelligent coach. I back him to improve second season in. It's unfortunate that stuff went against him, and he had a very bad head coach.
And I felt like the typical stats, like sacks, tackles, didn't really do him justice. So I made sure to put his quarterback hurries and pressures him because he has been playing well. Just hasn't been getting the sacks or like the really standout numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So next you have Josh Allen, and although he is the inferior Josh Allen in the league, this is a very, very good player. It's a shame that in his second season we only got to see very limited amount of games from him. But he's shown in his rookie year with 12 sacks straight away that he is a good player. He's a Pro Bowler in his rookie season. Not impressive stats this year, but you can't blame him. The team was awful and he only played 7 games, he was hurt. Definitely an A. I mean, if you're Pro Bowler your rookie year, when the team's decent, he's going to be off to a flyer. When he's actually got a competent defensive coordinator as well, he's only going to improve. He'll probably beat that 12 sacks next season, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, he's a Pro Bowler from his rookie season. He has only started 11 out of the 24 games, probably because of injury, and he didn't really get off to he didn't really have the best of seasons this time round. But outside of that, 13 sacks, Only 2.5 in this season, so that means 10.5 the season before in his Pro Bowl season. He was injured this season, like you said, so it wasn't his fault. But there's just some interesting facts about how much he's transformed this team. He became the first Jags player in history to go to the Pro Bowl after a rookie season, and he has the most sacks by a rookie in a season in Jacksonville franchise history. But even after 8 games this season, you can't lie, he wasn't putting up the stats that he was the season before. But as you said, that was kind of a regression of the entire team. Right, I've moved on now anyway, so
Okay.
it was a regression of the entire team, so you can't blame him.
Right, this is you.
Tav and Brian. Let's see. Okay, so he was drafted out of Florida. He started 17 of the 48 games he has played, in which he has got a pass defended, a false fumble, and 3.5 sacks, with 71 combined tackles. He has not been playing as a first-round quality player at all, and throughout 2020, he saw a continuous reduction in the amount of snaps that he was playing across the ball game because he was just that poor. He was struggling. And an interesting thing about his former head coach, Doug Marrone, he criticised him late last season for his inability to transition from rush to pass defence when it comes to play action. Now, obviously, that is just one of his flaws that he has got, but I think you can kind of escape that criticism when it comes from a head coach who doesn't really know what he's doing. But regardless, he was not productive. He didn't put up mind-blowing stats, as you can see. He was part of a defence that has struggled consistently, so it wasn't all his fault, but he certainly hasn't done any favours. And there is talk of moving on from him, and what do you expect? You've been in the NFL, 3 years now, and you haven't done much. So, yeah, poor.
To correct an error on the screen, is 29th overall. This was when they went to the AFC Championship game the year after that, so that was after Saxonville. You shouldn't call them Saxonville now, Ollie.
No.
Or the Jaguars. Right. Next up, we got Lenny. This is a weird pick. I mean, he had 2 really good seasons on the Jaguars, 2019, 2017, I think. And they were 1,000-yard rushing seasons, very good. And his year 4 stats were with Tampa Bay, of course, and not that good. I mean, some of their rush games were awful. They were just rushing for 2 yards. But they really clicked some games, like against the Panthers, when they ran for 90-yard touchdown.
Thank you for that.
Just if you didn't know.
I don't think it was him that did the 97.
No, it was Ollie. It was, no, who was
Jones.
it? Ronald Jones. Not,
yeah.
Why am I thinking Ronald Ollie? Right. Either way. So, Leonard Fournette, back to the subject. It was strange because he got cut and people said it was, well, the coaches said it was for footballing reasons, but he just come off a 1,000-yard rushing season, so that's hard to believe. He definitely didn't want to be there, and he obviously won the Super Bowl last season. And you have to give him a C+ really, because they cut him and they didn't get anything out of him really. So it's kind of a weird one, you know.
Yeah, I don't understand why, because when he was waived, apparently no team wanted him. That's why he couldn't get that's why the Jaguars couldn't get a trade pick for him, because no one wanted him. But when he was waived, he was picked up because Tom Brady phoned up and wanted him. But I don't understand why no one did want him, because in his last season for the Jags, he accounted for 30.6 of their total yardage alone as an offense. He regressed heavily, but so did the team after the following 2 seasons after losing the AFC Championship to the Patriots. He came out and said he was unhappy with the amount of losses that Jacksonville was having in the following 2 seasons after that loss against the Patriots. And the franchise apparently saw it as a poor attitude, as opposed to Leonard Fournette just wanting to win constantly and being competitive. So there was a bit of a misunderstanding between the franchise and Leonard Fournette's intentions, but that's what he came out and said himself. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. But ability-wise, he cannot be faulted. He has won a Super Bowl in not even a full season that he's been at Tampa. He's a very talented guy. He knows what he's doing. He's just, Jacksonville wasn't the team for him. So a C+ is, it's probably the best he's going to get, considering he had a very up and down career. He had a very good career. It's just at Jacksonville, it's just the manner he left kind of put a sour taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
we saw playoff Lenny was very good.
Oh, yeah,
very,
he's
very
brilliant.
good.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a home run.
Yes.
Jalen Ramsey. When you're going to take a corner 5th overall, this is what you should get. Not like what the Lions got with Jeffrey Okuda. This guy was a stud ever since he got into the team, pretty much. Plug and play guy, 4-time Pro Bowler, only in the league 5 years. That says it all. And when he was part of the Jacksonville defense, that was called Saxonville, of course, it was amazing to watch. He'd just put people on islands, like it was Darrell Revis or something. Him and AJ Bouye were a great little partnership. And he's obviously been moved to the Rams, but you can't slight them for that because they got an absolute king's ransom for him. Even though he pretty much made it public that he wanted to leave, they still got 2 first-round picks for him, so you can't fault that at all. And now, after year 5 now, people just don't throw to him, and that's why he's only got 1 interception. They just don't throw to him anymore. He just puts whatever receiver he's facing out the game easily, which is what you need when you're in the Rams division, of course.
Yeah, I mean, in the 4 years he's been there, he's put up impressive figures. 9 interceptions, 45 passes defended, and 193 tackles. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, twice with the Rams, twice with Saxonville. The Jags extended his 5th-year option, and then he had an altercation with the head coach Doug Marrone literally 2 games into the season or whatever it was, and then he demanded a trade. So he was kind of his own worst enemy when it comes to the falling of his Jags career. But I mean, it was a blessing in disguise. He got onto a Super Bowl contending team now, so fair play. As you said, he was traded for 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick. It shows how good he was as a player at Jacksonville. You've got one. You spent 1 first-round pick on him, and you got that and another and a 4th. So he's a very loud and verbal football player, which is why he probably fell out with Doug Marrone, because if he doesn't agree with something because he thinks he's God's gift, he will let you know. But you can't deny he does back up his words on the field. Admittedly, the stats aren't impressive. That's because, like you said, no one throws to him because he is that good. And then he signed a 5-year contract with the Rams last year, in which he is now the highest paid corner in the league. So
yeah,
he's a brilliant player. He was brilliant at Jacksonville. He's now brilliant at the Rams. He'll have a brilliant career in the NFL.
Yep. The one bad thing is that he has a quote of saying Josh Allen is trash. My quarterback is trash. Yeah, and then it's a good thing that when we faced him, not like 2 seasons ago, we absolutely cooked him. So get back in your box. Yeah, I think he's been humbled by that. He doesn't come out and publicly shame people anymore. So you can pin that on Josh Allen.
There's a lot, that's the thing with Ramsey. That's the end of it. But that's the thing about Ramsey is that he's a very good player. Don't get me wrong. But if there's one thing I'd grade him down on is the fact that he is gobby. And
I like that.
Yeah, you like it, but there's a point where I think gobbiness goes too far. He had 2 kids with Golden Tate's sister that they split up, and then Golden Tate and him had a fight during the game after comments he made about his sister after they split. He was fined, I think it was like $15,000 for it. He's called out so many quarterbacks like Josh Allen. He even called out Jared Goff whilst he was at Jacksonville, saying XYZ or whatever, how bad he is, how inconsistent he is, and he ended up being his teammate. Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts with him, but he's got an attitude problem, but some people like it, some people don't. I just think sometimes he goes too far.
I don't think it's an attitude problem. Alright, that's the video. Next we're on the Colts.
Yeah, we'll do Colts and Texans last.
So, as always, any support appreciated. We'll catch you guys next time.